every weekend when he could, and ever since I was a little kid when I could first walk, even before I walked, he put me on his shoulders, and I've been coming here ever since. And I took my kids down here, my son and my daughter, and I just love the beach, coming here all the time.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up where I still live, in Bay Ridge.
In Bay Ridge, okay.
Bay Ridge, right. Dyker Heights, part of Bay Ridge.
And the high school you went to again?
I went to New Utrecht High School.
New Utrecht, yeah.
New Utrecht.
Came by that on the train.
McKinley Junior High School. And after high school, I went to the College of Aeronautics, became an aircraft mechanic.
Ah, what about you said you ran your first marathon
in 1979,
and
I was 35 years old.
And this was shortly thereafter that you started doing the polar bear swim, or had you been doing that already?
Just before that, I was running. I always used to run to Coney Island from home. It's like a 10-mile run. It's 5 miles one way, 5 miles the other.
Right.
And then I would just run along the beach and the boardwalk. Did basically 15 miles every time I came down. So I was always running.
Did you stop by Ruby's when you were here?
No, I used to stop at the Nathan's, believe it or not. I just wanted to stay. It's supposed to be closing this place. I was surprised to see it open.
Yes.
In the papers, they said they're going to bring it to shut it down.
Well, I think they're in negotiations. They got lawyers for this side and lawyers for that side.
Yes, and they had some assemblyman also I seen in the paper.
Yeah.
He's going to fight to keep it open.
Yeah, yep.
So what happens, I don't really know.
Well, and then Dick Ziggin of Coney Island, USA, suggests that they might be able to move over to Surf, where those furniture stores are, that they could relocate these businesses, which would be nice.
Well, you know, we used to be there, the merry-go-round.
Right.
Yes, you grab the ring and all that.
And you came, when you were coming here, did you get to see steeplechase, or did that close?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, cool.
Definitely, seen steeplechase, yes. And we used to go on the Wonder Wheel, and I used to like the swinging one. I used to go on the parachute. They were supposed to talking about reopen that too. They said who's ever going to buy it was going to charge you $20 for a ride.
Right.
I remember it was $1.50.
Right, right.
In those days, we thought that was a lot of money.
Yes, yes.
And I used to go to Ravenhall Pool. I had a locker there with my friends. That was great. And steeplechase was a great place. Sorry to see that go.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I can say.
The developers, yeah. The developers of Joe Sitt is the latest, and it's always been one land grab after the next for Coney Island.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be different. My brother was a cop here for 21 years. He was 6'0".
Right.
And one time he says, Rich, he says, across the street from Nathan's, Shore Hotel, it's a hotel theater, right? He said Frank Sinatra bought that.
Ah.
Thinking that was going to be the next Atlantic City. Well, instead of Atlantic City. And he goes and says it would have been a great place. You have the trains, you have the Bell Parkway.
Right.
You got a beautiful beach, but politicians fought it. They didn't want it. I guess because of the projects or something like that. So who owns that building across the street from Nathan's now?
I know who owns it. He's the old Kansas Fried Chicken King. He's a black guy. The name is escaping me right now. I think it's Morris, but it may come back. But he in the 80s, he had acquired quite a bit of property around here, and he was about to get he wanted to start out on a big scale. There were other people saying, buy a couple pieces and set up some rides and build it more slowly. He wanted to start out in a substantial way, like a Disneyland or something. And then what happened was, when he was just about to get the last piece that would have enabled him to start the way he wanted to, somebody found he was doing business under a Japanese company sounding name. He was, because he was black and he was afraid of racism, and his concerns were not wrong, because that was apparently the reason that the people who wouldn't sell it, that last piece to him, didn't sell it, and then everything kind of shut down for years, decades, because he couldn't put it together, and he got so discouraged behind that. So that's when some of the hard times came to Coney Island, you know, where this place wasn't flourishing the way it had, and jobs and drugs, and it could be said that by virtue of those people not selling him that piece, and he would have invested considerable amount of money, he would have brought about the renaissance of Coney Island. And what happened today, recently, with Joe Sitt coming in and outsmarting the city and acquiring a lot of land and basically redeveloping it in a way which is very different from what Coney Island has traditionally been. It's going to put up a lot of buildings. The rides are all going to be I mean, some things needed to be done, and some things probably should have been preserved. And it's all going to be shiny and swanky and spanky, and that's not what Coney Island has represented.
You're absolutely right, because I meet quite a few foreigners go to Nathan's, and I talked to them just like I talked to you, and they used to ask me, you know, where is the bad areas? They had brochures saying that Coney Island is derelicts and murderers and robbers and watch out. To this day, it still has a bad reputation. It's going on.
Well,
it's all cleaned up.
You know, though, that some. But the 70s, the 80s, you know, they had those gangs, and there was, you know, it was rough.
I mean, even 42nd Street was bad. Giuliani came in, he cleaned up 42nd Street. And this is all cleaned up, except for the other end. I mean, it'll be so awful when you hear murders.
Right. Well, that's not going to change